Welcome to an interactive video focusing on designing and implementing culturally responsive assessment practices. This skill means implementing fair and relevant evaluation methods that consider students' cultural contexts and challenging cultural stereotypes in educational materials.
As a lecturer, developing this skill allows you to create fair and meaningful assessments that respect and reflect the diverse cultural backgrounds of your students, while promoting critical thinking and inclusivity in the learning process.
Acquiring this skill means that you are able to design assessments free from cultural biases, e.g., that include at least 2 culturally relevant scenarios per topic. Adapt feedback methods to be culturally sensitive. Identify and revise challenges biased or stereotypical content in texts. Encourage critical discussions about cultural representations. Apply self-assessment and co-assessment strategies to promote critical reflection on cultural perspectives.
Assessment is a core part of learning. Assessment is not simply the endpoint of learning. It is an integral part of the educational process, communicating to students what is valued, how success is defined, and whose knowledge counts. In culturally diverse classrooms, assessment practices that are unexamined or narrowly designed can unintentionally marginalize students, reinforce dominant norms, and limit the opportunities for learners to demonstrate understanding authentically.
What culturally responsive assessment means? Culturally responsive assessment practices aim to create fair and inclusive evaluation methods that take into account students' cultural contexts, identities, and ways of knowing. These practices acknowledge that learners interpret tasks, instructions, and feedback through cultural lenses. What may seem neutral to one group can feel alienating to another.
Developing this skill involves both redesigning traditional assessments and rethinking how feedback and reflection are structured, moving beyond standardization toward flexibility, authenticity, and mutual respect.
Ensuring cultural relevance and fairness. To ensure cultural relevance and fairness, lecturers should examine assumptions embedded in common assessment formats. Multiple choice tests, timed exams, or essays may rely on culturally specific references or reasoning patterns, disadvantaging some students.
Inclusive assessment integrates culturally grounded examples as an essential component of learning tasks. For example, a marketing case study can explore consumer practices from multiple countries, while an ethics assignment can analyze dilemmas rooted in different cultural norms around family, autonomy, or community. Incorporating at least 2 culturally relevant scenarios per topic allows students to see themselves and their communities represented, enhancing engagement and participation.
Culturally sensitive feedback and dialogue. Feedback is equally important. Students interpret feedback through cultural norms, and approaches that are effective in one context may be problematic in another. Culturally sensitive feedback involves adapting tone, structure, and format, ensuring clarity and respect.
Beginning with strengths, framing suggestions as opportunities for growth, and providing specific examples supports understanding. Offering multiple feedback channels, written comments, audio recordings, visual cues, or private consultations, encourages dialogue while reducing the fear of losing face. Assessment becomes an ongoing conversation rather than a one-way judgment.
Challenging stereotypes and bias. Culturally responsive assessment also requires actively identifying and challenging bias or stereotypes in content. Lecturers should critically examine texts, visuals, case studies, and problem scenarios to ensure no culture is portrayed as inferior or overly simplified.
Assessments that encourage students to reflect on cultural representations foster deeper critical thinking and global awareness. For instance, students might compare media portrayals of global issues or consider whose perspectives are included or excluded in academic debates.
Promoting reflection and agency through co-assessment. Promoting reflection and agency is central to this skill. Self-assessment and co-assessment strategies engage students in evaluating their own and peers' work, fostering metacognitive skills and encouraging critical reflection on cultural perspectives. Involving students in creating rubrics or assessing peer contributions decentralizes authority and recognizes the diverse knowledge they bring. Over time, these practices increase confidence, reduce anxiety, and strengthen inclusion. Designing for flexibility without sacrificing rigor. Flexibility in assessment design does not compromise academic rigor. Providing students with multiple ways to demonstrate mastery, such as essays, digital artifacts, or interviews, maintains consistent intellectual standards while removing unnecessary cultural barriers. This approach allows learners to play to their strengths and demonstrate competence in ways that are personally meaningful.
A fairer future through responsive assessment. In sum, culturally responsive assessment is a powerful tool for promoting equity, inclusion, and student success in diverse and digitally transformed learning environments. By centering diverse perspectives, eliminating bias, adapting feedback, and fostering reflection and co-assessment, lecturers create an educational space where all students are seen, heard, and fairly evaluated.
These practices are not about perfection, but about awareness, humility, and continuous improvement, contributing to more just and inclusive learning environments in higher education.
Now we invite you to the quiz section where you can test your knowledge by answering 3 questions. Tick the correct answer. Whether you chose right or wrong, you will be given an explanation for the answer. Here we go.